We're here with Isaac Hayes. I don't know if he's going to talk bad about anybody today.
Damn. Do I have that reputation?
They don't have that reputation, but you will shoot a shot every now and again.
No.
You are a shot shooter, Isaac Hayes.
No. I return fire.
There we go. And that's how you start a podcast. Welcome to the Social Proof Podcast. Yeah. Isaac says, I return fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Social media is a very peculiar place, man.
Yeah.
And you're building a social media app.
It's built.
Well, I mean, you're building a bigger empire.
I'm scaling it.
You're scaling. It's a very peculiar place, man.
Yeah.
I don't love social media like I used to.
Why not?
I don't know. It gives anxiety. It provides a distraction for me.
Mm-hmm.
And most people.
Yeah.
We just scroll. As a creator of an app, though, I can see where you may say, well, if people's attention is going to be here, let me just give them the best experience. But for me, I'm having a love-hate relationship. I can't hate it too much, though, because it's my business and brand, and there's never been a easier time to let the world know who you are and what you have to say. So
I love it. I get super excited about it because it's evolving, it's changing, and it's becoming a new world that is going to change even more in the next 3 to 4 years. It's going to be crazy.
So, okay, so for those that don't know, introduce yourself. I could introduce you, Isaac Hayes III, 100% one of the top 5 smartest people that I know, period. Oh and that's saying a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's saying a lot. I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of smart people, but someone who like really studies in industry. I'm talking about studying any industry. Most people don't study their industry and understand their industry the way you do. So yeah, that would be my intro for you, but I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Isaac Hayes III. Hi. We're on my Instagram. Hey, everybody. I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. First-time tech founder, lifetime troublemaker, lifetime entrepreneur.
Lifetime troublemaker. See, that's what you created for you.
Yeah. What? The troublemaker?
You be shooting shots.
No, but the trouble is, as John Lewis, it's good trouble. It's trouble that provokes change.
Explain that.
Like, we got to start saying things that the quiet part out loud. We're starting to have to start holding ourselves accountable beyond the things that we've normally been doing the last, 50, 60 years. It's time to really stand on business.
Yeah, for sure.
Be about that life.
Yeah, I want to talk about this first. Mm-hmm. You are raising money.
Yes.
You've raised money.
Yes, I have.
Okay, what'd you raise the first time?
So the first 3 rounds that we've done in a Rec CF, I've raised $10 million.
You raised $10 million?
$10 million.
And what'd you do with the $10 million, Isaac?
I built Fanbase.
Right.
Continue to build it.
Sure. I have to ask the questions. Yeah. I know you're doing the right thing with the money, right? But we got to ask these questions because we can actually see your improvements and things of that nature. Yeah. Okay. So you raised $10 million.
Yeah.
How'd you get people to give you $10 million?
I didn't get people to give $10 million. I think the product spoke for itself. I always I'm a person that can effectively communicate my vision and my business, but I think nothing speaks better for Fanbase than Fanbase itself. And a lot of time when people are investing in founders, they invest in the founder, but I think nothing speaks better for Fanbase than the actual app. Like the functionality, the design, there's a lot of groundbreaking stuff that we've done, a lot of things that people have copied. And so I think people that invest in Fanbase see the vision and see the long-term, potential in what we've got. Before
you had Fanbase built, you went out on a raise, right? Did you raise money to build it?
No. I spent my own money.
How much?
$200,000.
You put $200,000 up. Yeah. What was you doing? I don't even know what were you doing? You were in music. You were doing something in music.
I was basically a career songwriter producer. I I think this journey is intentional. I think this is all destiny for me, because in my younger years, I was a very ambitious but more impatient person. And so I started making, money in the music industry, but there's a lot of politics, a lot of little things that go on, and you don't really, it'd be like, I got frustrated. So I tried to sign artists, which was really not a bad idea, which was a terrible idea, because I was spending my own money to do so, and that didn't work out well. And for a lot of the artists, and what I'm realizing for people is I wanted it more than they did. Yeah. So you can't, so anyway, then I started licensing my music. I wound up doing like 4 or 5 songs for a movie called ATL with T.I.
Word?
Yeah, scoring in the film. That was the first time I made some serious money in music, even before I started producing professionally. So it taught me about music licensing.
So you scored, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I assisted. The film was scored, but about 8 or 9 scenes in that film were my beats in the background playing in the film.
Really?
Yeah, and that's when I learned about music licensing, and that changed everything.
You had the beats already, or you created them for that specific project?
No, I had the beats already.
And you just knew, okay, this would fit perfectly.
It was all divine intervention. Short story. Rough Riders had an artist named Flashy Freddie. Flashy Freddie manager was set free. I did a song for Rough Riders, Ride or Die Volume 4. I was supposed to get paid $8,000. I only got paid $4,000. I never got my money DNY.
Yo, run my man his bread.
No, it's okay.
Bro.
It's cool.
It's not okay. Give him his money.
But Set Free wound up being the music supervisor for Chris Robinson on ATL. So he remembered me. He was like, man, we doing this movie out in LA, man, but it's about Atlanta, but everybody keeps sending us West Coast beats. You got any beats? And I was like, yeah. So we sent them out there, and boom, boom, boom. And then I wound up getting 8 records placed in the film, and I made a lot. I probably made $80,000 or $90,000 just licensing. I wasn't selling the beats. I was like, okay, that's it, license. When TV and film, it's permission to use. It's not selling the IP. So
okay, you don't own the $4,000 anymore. It's cool.
Yeah.
So you made 90,000 from licensing, and they don't even own the beats.
Right.
Yo, so why wouldn't an artist come, or a T.I. say, yo, that one beat, let me get that, make a song?
Because when you do, when you're producing professionally, when labels are involved, this is TV and film. When a record company is involved, they want to own the master. Yeah. So they want to pay the producer for the rights to own the master. You still have your publishing contained within the master. So they buy the master, you retain your publishing, and they pay you, and then you get paid for performance royalties and XYZ.
Got it. So that's why you have these ties in the music industry like this.
Yeah, I was in it for 20 years, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you know what I never asked you, bro, and you talk about it. I mean, we know that Isaac Hayes, that was your father.
Yeah.
So he was a second.
Yeah, he's a junior.
The third. Okay, he was a junior.
Yeah.
I never really asked you about the relationship you had with your dad.
It was cool. I mean, my dad was a workaholic too. I get my work ethic from him. But he was very successful at a young age. He was a millionaire by the time he was 28. He had won an Oscar, I think, at 29.
Oh, wow.
The first black man to win an Oscar for an Academy Award, first black man to win an Academy Award for a musical composition. So he was the third black person ever. So it's Hattie McDaniel, Sidney Poitier, and Isaac Hayes.
Wow.
He was number 3, and he won for music for Shaft.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Isaac Hayes was Shaft, yes?
No, he scored it. Richard Roundtree.
Richard Roundtree, okay. He just scored it.
Yeah.
Okay. So how far apart were you and your dad in age?
He had me when he had me when he was 36, 35.
Oh, wow. Yeah. When did he pass?
2008. He was 65, young.
A young 65.
No, 65 is young.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A young 60. Yeah. Now, there is some old 65s, though.
Yeah.
There's some old ones.
I know.
But you're saying your dad stayed, kind of kept his stuff together. How did he pass?
Heart attack. He had a stroke in 2006 and then a heart attack in 2008.
Dang, sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it was tough.
And how old were you when he passed?
33.
Got it. So what was your relationship like? I mean, I know it's good, but...
Well, my parents got divorced when I was 9. So all the way until 9, we lived in the same house. My mom got separated, divorced. He still lived in Atlanta, but it was separate. But our relationship for a while was... I say this all the time. It was a very normal father-son relationship. Meaning a lot of times people say, Well, what I mean is like a lot of people say, "Oh, your dad's famous, so I know the relationship had to be crazy." I'm like, no, if I mess up in school, you know what I'm saying? I got my ass whooped, you know what I'm saying?
Just try.
Oh yeah, got spankings.
You're doing great.
You know, yeah, that kind of stuff. So it was very, it was a very cerebral. Like my dad had a really great way of educating me because it wasn't like yelling. It was very he's a very cool dude. So if somebody cool tells you something in a calm, deep voice, you're like, yeah, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of our relationship. And I think for me in music, he was always eyeing what I wanted to do because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. The irony is I wanted to do two things in life. I either wanted to produce or I wanted to make video games when I was a kid. And it's funny that I wound up in tech. But, I started out in music, but eventually made my way to tech.
Got it. Y'all spend a lot of time together?
Not a lot, because he was a very busy dude. Mm-hmm. And then I got a whole bunch of other brothers and sisters, too. My dad was married 4 times and had 2 baby mamas, so that's a lot. So together, it's 11 children altogether. He has 11 kids.
Married 4 times, 2 baby moms.
Yeah, 11 kids. It's a lot.
How many your mom have?
2, me and my sister.
Were they married?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 2. Oh, so he had 9 with somebody else?
No. I said he was married 4 times.
Married 4 times with 2 baby moms. So I'm thinking.
I mean, they weren't married. 2 children outside of the marriage.
I see. Oh, so Mr. Hayes is going crazy.
Everybody was going crazy back then.
Especially in the music industry. And he had like a sexy kind of vibe to him.
Yeah.
What did you learn about women from your dad?
Everything.
Because you're not married.
No.
It makes me think that maybe his relationship with women had something to do with rubbing off on you.
No, I think his relationship, his understanding of women and just less is more was always the best. Like, you don't have to be the loudest person in the room. Mm-hmm. Just be cool and chill and all that kind of stuff. But I think also for me, why I always had this responsibility that his legacy and my legacy were connected. So I can't be out here wilding. You know how it is. It's like, I don't want to, I'll say this. I just didn't want to be the guy that had a relationship where the woman would be like, Isaac Hayes' son, it's got my baby and da 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 da. So it's like, okay, I gotta, my dating decisions are very responsible.
Yeah, but at the same time, it seems like maybe your father had. He didn't have really commitment issues because he would commit.
Yeah.
Just maybe not for long.
No, long. My parents were married for like 13 years.
Really?
Yeah.
He stepped out a lot though.
I would assume, yes.
Yeah. But I'm trying to get your lens of this, right? So a successful, powerful man, which is super ideal because he took care of his kids. Obviously, he had a relation. He made time to make sure that you were disciplined when you need to be disciplined. Yeah. I'm sure there's priceless moments of him teaching you about music and things of that nature.
Correct. I used to spend a lot of time with him at the studio. We moved to Atlanta because I was too young when I was in Memphis or whatever. But we moved to Atlanta, there's a studio called Master Sound. We used to hang out there. Some studios had cork on the walls. It was really weird. But we were still recording on 2-inch tape, and I was remembering that, like those types of things. Ironically, I got to say this because it always, those memories fast forward me to Rico Wade. I'll tell you why. R.I.P. Rico Wade, Organized Noise, because the last time, the very next time I really spent time in a recording studio that was around music professionally was the Dungeon. Like when I was like 16, I got brought to the Dungeon by my manager, Sean Johnson. It's the first time I ever smelled weed. It was a bunch of dudes in the basement of the house making beats on top of like literal dirt with tables, but this expensive equipment. And first person I see is this skinny dude, no shirt on, just smoking weed, making a beat on an MP, like a $4,000 drum machine at the time. I'm like, this is wild. Like, it's
just
nuts.
Try.
Yeah, just doing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're doing great.
Just doing it. Yeah. So smoking weed and doing that whole thing, and it was just like that had I think just the biggest impact on me making music because Rico he looked like me. He was from Atlanta. He was making the type of music that I liked.
Wow.
It was very inspirational. So I tie that like the influence of my dad and him being a amazing, brilliant musician, and then what Organized Noise did with live music and all that kind of stuff, I think is phenomenal.
Yeah. So you said you got your work ethic from your dad.
Yeah.
What did you learn? Like, so you know how you have these lessons. I know I got lessons from my dad.
Yeah.
That I'll never forget these lessons. Right.
I think business. I think I came into the music industry with an understanding of business, or the need to understand the minutia of business more than my father, because he suffered from not knowing the business. Very talented guy, but I think in every artist almost from that era, that generation, there are a few exceptions that didn't lose the rights to their music or publishing or lost a lot of money. And so that affected our lives because my dad filed for bankruptcy 2 years before I was born.
Really?
Yeah. I have the best story ever, though, when it comes to like, when I mean the best story ever is, I think there's always an assumption about me that I grew up rich.
I was thinking so.
Exactly. And I think that I had a rich education, but a very humble life growing up. Like, from middle school, I say from middle school to high school. Middle school, I lived in a 1-bedroom condo with my mom and my sister and my 2 sisters. So I slept in the bed with my mom through middle school. And my sister and my other sister shared a little living room section. And then in high school, my sister slept in the bed with my mom, and I slept and I had my own bedroom because I'm a boy, I'm a grown man. Yeah. And we weren't rich, you know what I'm saying? And again, because my dad, he didn't have money because he lost a lot of the rights to his music and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was tough. So me saying, okay, if I do this, I got to understand the business. And I went to public school, so the assumption is that, oh, your dad's has a case and all that kind of stuff. So I think it made me really tough. Mm-hmm. It made me really pay attention and smart. So people, I think I work harder than most people would assume. Yeah. Given that, like, I didn't go to college. I got a 9-to-5 job. I quit my job. Said I wanted to be in the music industry. Didn't have no girlfriend, no car, whatever. For years until I started producing. So I'm different than most.
There's a lot of things you can do with $500. I mean, you can have a night out with your significant other. You could buy some really expensive shoes. Well, really nice shoes are about double $500. You could buy a course where you can learn something for $500. But I have something better for you to do with the $500. I want to meet with you every single morning for the rest of your life. Well, maybe not the rest of your life, but every morning, Monday through Friday, for the rest of the year. I have information and game that have allowed me to build a successful business, a successful community, and a successful life all the way around. But I want to share that with you. But the only way we can accomplish this is not me selling you a course, not me giving you a one-on-one consultation, because even with that, you'll get the information, but you'll need more. I want to meet with you every single morning. Now, would I meet with someone every morning for $500 for a year? And the answer is yes. Actually, we've been doing this thing since 2017. We have what's called the Morning Meetup. Every single month, we have a theme, whether it's social media, whether it's motivation, whether it's strategy, whatever it is, we have a theme for the month. And every morning in that month, we have a conversation around that topic. And I am giving a wealth of knowledge, not only myself, but a lot of friends, a lot of people that you see on this podcast. They join every single week. So you need a community of people that you can grow with, and you need a coach. I'm your coach. The Morning Meetup is your community. Go to themorningmeetup.com. It's $499, and I will meet you every single morning for an entire year. Give it a shot. The world, I think, knows more about the music industry than ever before.
Yeah.
Like, not getting taken advantage of, have your attorney look over it, things of that nature. I mean, it's still going on, but it couldn't be as much as back then because nobody knew. So it's like, yo, you're going to give me how much money and I'll sign the contract. How are these artists, even your dad, because I'm sure you would know, how did he get taken advantage of with paperwork?
Publishing. So as much as we talk about the music industry and performing, like doing shows is a good part of an artist's, income stream, but songwriters and producers, publishing and masters. So publishing is musical real estate, right? I say that you own it until you sell it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when people come and use your songs later, they have to pay you. And so he lost the ownership of a lot of that music that wound up being $50-60 million. And
wow.
And this is another thing, when he was signed to, he was on Stax Records. And so at the time, and I think people don't understand, I always have to put into thought or context of how famous my dad was. So if I were to compare my dad at the time to a modern artist, he was Drake. He was Usher of the early 69. Yeah, Isaac Hayes was the SHIT.
Wow. And it wasn't even as many artists in the world as there is now.
He was the first, he was the first artist to have a platinum album. Shaft is the first platinum album by a black artist ever.
Really?
Shaft, not 45s, but an album. He had the first double platinum album with Black Moses. There's a lot about a lot of stuff that my dad did. You know, he created modern day R&B. There is no modern day R&B without Isaac Hayes.
So he signed away the rights to that?
No. Couple things. Stax Records was a label that needed Isaac Hayes. He was a superstar. At the time, Stax had about 30 artists, and he was making 70% of the income for the label, which is typical. Mm-hmm. Meaning, like, most superstar artists pay, like, you know, Drake and all them pay for the other ones that don't work.
Yeah, for sure.
So he was 70% of the income. So the label owed him like $12 million in royalties. If he would have taken those royalties when he could have, he would have bankrupted Stax. But he was loyal to Stax because Stax is what they gave him his opportunity. So he allowed them to defer those payments, right, to keep the label running. And so cool. So he takes out a loan for $2 million. Stax files for bankruptcy, doesn't pay him. He defaults on his loan, so then the ownership of his music is caught up in that default, and then that's how he loses it, by being loyal.
Wow. Oh my gosh. One, he lost $12 million worth.
Today would be like $60 million. It's like, it'd be like $60 or $70 million being owed to an artist. Be like, oh, we ain't got it.
But why can't they just take the $2 million that he owed, or did he put up the whole thing as collateral?
So typically, this is why, it's very interesting. It's typically when you put it up as collateral, they garnish the income stream. Yeah. Meaning you retain ownership until the money's paid back. Yeah. This, they garnered the asset, the whole thing.
Golly.
But they fumbled too, because they wind up selling the asset to some guys, and this is where it gets shaky. It's really, really iffy. But around, I think, in the early 80s, they wind up auctioning off those rights for only $50,000. But this is before sampling came about. So no one saw sampling coming. So think about that. But here's the thing that was weird about that. There's only two guys that knew about the auction. So they just showed up to the courtroom like, everybody want to bid? Yeah, it's only two dudes here.
On Isaac Hayes' catalog.
His writer shares, yeah, his music. So that is what kind of happened with that.
Who were the two guys that showed up?
These two white dudes. It's like they were the only ones that knew. Everybody thinks it was like a scam. Like, okay, look, we about to auction off these shares. We're not gonna tell nobody, but you two show up, guy, and boom, sold, boom. Now, this is what happens. It's free sampling. Now, so the bank sold that. So now, 86, one of the guys gets arrested for pornography. He has to sell his share. So he sold it to a publishing company. But then, like 2 or 3 years later, sampling comes in. So now you got Public Enemy, Ghetto Boys, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, so sampling comes into play. So all the money that was made off those records, my dad really didn't see a lot of that money, most of that money.
That's crazy, because he's still alive at this point, watching his music go from person to person
and making tons of money.
Wow.
But honestly, here's the thing that's so weird about it, and it affected a lot of all of us as kids.
Yeah.
Because it's like, can't really, like he had to hustle. So it's tough.
Yeah.
But right now, I always look at your hardships in life as like, I would have been an entirely different person. If my dad would have retained that publishing, I would have been some rich kid living in LA, flipping Ferraris on coke, just doing dumb stuff, just being a complete pampered, sheltered little baby that did not know the value of hard work and know you got to pull yourself up and grind and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thankful for that now because I love the person that I'm in. I wouldn't have lived in Atlanta. Yeah. And I can't imagine me not, as much as I talk about Atlanta, I can't imagine me not being in Atlanta. So it was a blessing, I think, because that whole process kind of soured my dad's opinion or his vision of what, his perspective of what Memphis was and how he got done wrong. So he moved to LA at first, and then my mom was like, we ain't raising no kids in LA. So they moved to Atlanta in like 70, I want to say, when we moved to Atlanta in like 77, 78.
When were you born?
I was born in 75, so 78. Gotcha. I got here like 3 or 4 years old, 3. I got here when I was 3. So I'm from Atlanta. No bones about it. I've been here the whole time.
Wow. One lesson you learned from your dad, though, that he sat down and told you, not that you gathered, right? 'Cause some things are taught, some things are caught. But I'm saying something your dad sat down and told you that you never forgot that's servicing you now.
The ownership, understanding the business.
Yeah.
Understanding the ownership of how valuable those assets are. Yeah. Because we're seeing this now. We're seeing artists' music get sampled, and then somebody else might own the publishing, or even the artist owns the publishing. They're making, millions of dollars. You never know. That's how the music industry works. Again, it's like real estate. You're sitting on a piece of land, all of a sudden, oh shit, or oh damn, Metro Boomin made a beat using one of my beats, and now it's the #1 record, and now I've made $1 million off something that I did 35 years ago. That's why it's important to own your publishing. I never did a publishing deal. So the entire time I was in the music business, that's what I mean. I had this anxiety. Like I never did, people wanted to sign me to pub deals. I didn't sign pub deals. I was going to own my publishing. So I came in with this, like, I'm going to own this. If I can't work in this business owning everything, then I'm not going to work in it. And sometimes I felt I was punished for that, which made me, remember I said I was impatient, which made me frustrated, which said, well, I'm going to go sign my own artists. And that worked out terribly. So I said, oh, I'm going to license my music. When I learned about licensing, then I just put all my music in this catalog that they just use for like television shows and reality shows. And then that's how I made all my money. And then that's how I was able to pay for Fanbase.
Okay, now it's kind of making sense on this tirade, I'll call it, that you're going on when it comes to ownership, right? Comparing how we as a people even look at ownership versus, hey, just give me some money, give me my brand deal, just give me my money, instead of owning something. It's now making sense because it's one of the strongest lessons you learned from your dad.
Yeah, because I know the value that is in, like once it's like this, if you know, like imagine, like I said, Isaac Hayes is publishing probably over a 30-year period, probably made $60 or $70 million, but he didn't own it. You know what I'm saying? We own it. We're owning it now. So copyright law terminates. So we've terminated all his songwriting, and then we're about to terminate all his artist stuff that he did from like 69 to 77, and then that publishing coming back, and then that it comes to the family, and we did a really big deal with Primary Wave at the end of last year, a partnership with them, and they have like Prince, Whitney Houston, James Brown. They manage a bunch of they bought those estates, but again they bought those. We didn't sell, partnership. You know what I'm saying? So we're not selling. Yeah. And it's different. So that's why I'm so big on ownership.
Got it. All right. I saw you did something, it was about Kai Cenat. And did you have a conversation with him?
Kai Cenat's a hard guy to get in touch with. Hard. Again, but I understand why. See, this is the thing this is the barrier that I feel, that I think people that work with those artists, that talent, are so protective because they make money. And so here comes this guy wanting to offer equity and be totally disruptive and say, hey man, there's more out for you than this. And man, you about to mess up we got a good thing going here. Here comes this guy like, no, we need to leave these platforms and own our own platforms. And like, oh man, don't let him near him because
Yeah.
goodness, you know what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening with Kai, but he's hard to get a hold of. But we will have a conversation, I'm assuming, one day, and talk about, I think he does phenomenally well. He's the one. Kai Cenat is the guy that I feel like I've identified that will be the first social media like billionaire, black billionaire. I absolutely believe that Kai Cenat will be a billionaire.
All right, so I'm not 100% sure what he's on. I just see the stream and I see him dancing with Nicki Minaj, stuff like that. Explain to me what's happening in that streaming world, because I know you know.
So platforms like Twitch, the streamers are the popular, that's the new thing that kids are really into. It's IRL. So if you ever heard the word IRL, this means in real life. So in real life content, which I believe is actually going to be the future of everything, because photos are going to be AI generated, music will be. It's the in real life interactions that we have that I think will wind up being what makes everything so successful. So he streams, he's on Twitch, he has a lot of followers, but he also has a lot of subscribers. So that's what it is. So on Twitch, you can have subscribers for $4.99 a month, and then the user gets 50% of those $2 or $2.50. So when I saw him talking to Speedy, he was like, you got 53,000 like subscribers. So that's like at $4 a month, that's like 400,000 a month. And he's like, yeah, and and that's the thing. It's like he's the first guy, as opposed
Golly.
No, but he's the first, and remember he's 21, 22. So take the 10 years before that. Take all the creators that came before that. So take the King Batches and all those guys that wanted to create content and become famous and then get brand deals. Kai has bypassed all that and said, I'm doing direct to consumer transactions for my content, which pay me $400,000 a month, which is the core of what Fanbase is about for every single person on the planet. That's why it's so valuable to me, because it's like there's nothing in the way. I made a post about that a couple of days ago, and I like to call myself a visionary, and I'm one of those guys that keeps receipts. So I made a post in 2015 when Adele had gone gold in like a day for Hello. Put out, the single went gold in a day. And my post that I put on Facebook at the time was like, Adele put out a quality product, but more importantly, one-click in-app purchases are going to make people rich very, very fast. And this is 3 years before I built Fanbase. So fast forward to this last Taylor Swift album, she sold 1.6 million albums in a day. And I said 5 years from now, in 2015, I said 5 years from now, artists will be able to go platinum in a day, because it's nothing to hit a button and do that. But I said, position yourself, because the store is global in your hands with 1 billion customers. And now there's like 6 billion people in the world with smartphones. And so that's why I lean so heavy into subscriptions and tell everybody, and I sound like the crazy guy, but it's like, dude, Taylor Swift sold 1.6 million albums in a day. If she could sell 1.6 million albums in a day, she could sell 1.6 million subscriptions in a day. And if she can sell 1.6 million subscriptions in a day, then I know somebody that can sell 16,000 subscriptions in a day. Yeah, it might not be as big as Taylor Swift, but 16,000 subscriptions or 5,000.
1,600 subscriptions. Goodness
exactly.
gracious.
That's the point. And so, and that's recurring revenue. That's not just I bought it and it's gone. It's like I stay with you month over month.
Yeah.
So the whole notion and the energy behind Fanbase, that's why it's super disruptive, because that is going to be the future for every person on the planet. That's how we're going to make our money. We're not going to make our money. We're going to make our money. Everybody's going to be a content creator.
The narrative that I for sure, I push that on a regular basis too, because it's like nothing that we buy that we don't get a conversation from somebody who bought it and created content, whether it's reviews. I don't buy anything on Amazon without looking at the reviews. Like someone created some content, text, whatever. Somebody created a review. You go search it on YouTube. There's 1,000 people that reviewed it. I go down rabbit holes to figure out what type of $40 light I need to buy, this one or that one. It spends me too much time to do this. But if you are a business owner, you got to create content. I don't even see another way to sell something.
Yeah, you got to create content, but then also at the same time, you have to position yourself to receive revenue, even as a business owner.
For sure.
So that's why I say everybody. So when you introduce since I came up with in-app purchase person-to-person subscription in 2019, it didn't exist before Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat. None of these Twitter, X, none of these platforms would let you subscribe to somebody with a face scan or a fingerprint. None of them would allow you to do that. Fanbase came up with that. See, and this is the thing that I talk about. So when I talk about ownership and all in the realm of social media, I have to be super, super specific when I talk about tech, because I'm a first-time tech founder, but I'm not into tech like I'm not in fintech and, all these other things. I took social media and technology and culture, and that's my lane, and I stick to it. But in that lane, there's so much money, the value like that. And when I realized that I'm just a guy in Atlanta, Georgia, that said, hey, we need to be able to subscribe to people like we subscribe to Netflix, and nobody else that had no tech founder, no VC, no other company made that mechanism when it already when the functionality already existed in Apple, but said we need to be subscribing to people, and I do that, and then everybody copies me. Oh, that gives me the utmost confidence. Like, oh, you guys just have the money. Mm-hmm. We have the ideas. The users have the ideas.
It didn't make you feel away though, kind of like, dang, they took my sauce.
No, not at all.
A little.
No.
Isaac, a little.
I'm telling you, no.
When Instagram does it, you're like, all right, I'm doing this thing that nobody's doing. And then a big company who has the resources and, by the way, the audience, they do it. Mm-hmm. And nobody cares that you started it or you did it for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make you feel away.
The only reason, it actually makes me feel good. See, I'm saying for me, I see y'all really don't come up with any ideas. You just build something and let young kids and black people play with it like Legos and then say, let's build that.
Yeah.
So, you're vulnerable in the space of social media again. I'm talking about, I'm not talking about tech and all that. I'm saying, when it comes to social media, the economic engine and the innovator of social media is culture. And who makes culture? Kids and black people.
That's true.
So
that's a fact.
So, and then I totally feel that all these social networks have a lifespan. I'm telling you, you cannot get a 14-year-old to come anywhere near Facebook. It is the furthest thing that anybody wants to be with. And my brother just turned 18 this week. He has an Instagram profile. There's no content on it. Yeah. He just spies on us. He just looks at his brother and sisters. He's like, I'm not going over there. He's other places. And so Fanbase was built to not compete with Instagram. I don't even look at Instagram and these platforms as competition. I just look at it like, I'm the little brother. I'm the little kid. You guys are the OGs. And I'm gonna assume the title. I'm gonna assume the throne, somewhere down the line. And it's gonna be different because you guys aren't coming up with the original ideas. You guys aren't innovating anything at all. You're just taking what you see other people. Every functionality that we've seen on social media has come from young people and black people. So if we're talking about DMs, retweets, face filters, it's just a big focus group. Yeah. The disadvantage between black founders in social media and white founders is that we don't get invested in early. So if I didn't have $200,000 of my own money, wasn't nobody about to give me $200,000 to build Fanbase? I actually saw a story on Instagram, the story of Instagram. Instagram, and again, everybody kind of uses this thing with VCs and stuff, but it's like the guys from Instagram went to Stanford. They had an idea for an app, and they were able to raise $500,000 to build this thing called Bourbon. Mm-hmm. And Bourbon was like a check-in app where you could check in at like restaurants and bars and stuff like that and take photos. Mm-hmm. And they raised $500,000, built the app, only got 100 users. And then they pivoted and they asked their users what they liked the most about it. So they asked the users, again, it's not that they said, what do you guys like? And they said, well, we really just like taking the photos. So then they just made it a photo app. And then Kevin Systrom asked his girlfriend at the time, well, why don't you take photos? She goes, because my photos look crappy, but your photos look all filtered. And he goes, oh, filters. And then that was it. So again, we have ideas, but your best ideas come from the people that innovate. And so before I'm a tech founder, I'm an innovator.
I'm about to write this. I just got a dope. Well, you said that. I got an amazing idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write it down and I'm gonna ask you how to build it.
Okay.
Am I being extra? Am I being scatterbrain?
No.
Okay.
Hey, when inspiration strikes.
I just got an ill idea, bro.
Yeah. But again, the users, they're the ones that do it. So for me, I'm the user first. I was a social media user first, right? I'm a creator first. I write songs, I make music, I do all these things. So before I ever thought about building a social media app, I was a person that said, man, I wish the app could do this. I wish the app could do that. Or I would try to say things like, I would post things in the ethos like, oh, as soon as I saw Vine, matter of fact, before I even saw Vine, there was another app called Vidi. And there's another app called Soundtracking. So Soundtracking was like Instagram, but for music. And Vidi was like Instagram, but videos. And I said, oh, they finna take all this. And I said, once they add video to social media, television network, everybody's a TV network. Now, the fact that these companies have advertising, they're going to suppress your content because they got to make money because they just can't let you have a television network with 400 million viewers.
Right.
They got to get their bag somehow, so they crush your views down and make money, let you trickle in, but that's how they stay in business. And so I'm like, well, no, let's open it up for everybody. Like, I want you to get 20 million views on all of your content, but then take a portion of those people and turn them into subscribers and then make that a global business model. And that was Fanbase.
So how many users do we have now?
About 650,000, and I love how you said we.
Yeah, come on, man. I'm an investor,
You're an
bro.
investor. That we, one more time.
Absolutely.
We.
That first interview, I invested before the interview was over.
Yeah.
Because I believe in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all right, so look, I made this post yesterday, and I thought this was super important. And it said, Jeff Bezos convinced his siblings to invest $10,000 each in his online startup Amazon.
Yeah.
Investment is worth $1.3 billion today.
Yeah.
$1.3 billion today. So when I see someone who, this is all you do.
Yeah.
Like it's not, you might do some other stuff, but when we talk about anything, your conversation is going to automatically go to social media and subscriptions. You could be talking about relationships or something like that, and somehow the conversation will always pivot. And I look at people like that who really have a one-track mind on building something. Oh my gosh, they're going to be great. Because most people can't do that.
Yeah.
They just can't. They can't stay focused long enough and research and be passionate about it. So I was like, bro, I put some bread in.
Yeah.
It might worth. Okay, I put it. It might be worth $1 billion. You never know.
Well, see, first of all, if you do want to invest, go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. We're raising $17 million, by the way. I've raised 10, but I launched a $17 million round that you can raise. You can invest in. We're raising $17 million. We're almost at our first $1 million. The minimum to invest is $399, and you actually get equity. You get shares. And equity is the conversation that we've been having. I had that conversation with Jermaine B. Cox. I've been having that conversation. I even brought up, I mentioned Kai Cenat and DJ Academics for a reason, because I had conversations with some of these guys that are in these startups. So Aiden Ross, he's a streamer on a platform called Kick. Aiden Ross has equity in Kick. Cool. Charlie D'Amelio, you know who that is. Huge. You don't know who Charlie D'Amelio is. Huge TikToker, young girl. Anyway, there's this debit card company for kids called Step. Charlie D'Amelio has equity in Step, right? There's another creator named Bryce Hall. All his deals that he does, he gets equity in. Academics does not have equity. He's on Rumble. Kai Cenat is on Twitch. He doesn't have equity. Now, to be fair, both of those companies were publicly traded companies before they got on the platforms, meaning Twitch had already been sold to Amazon. It's publicly traded XYZ. But someone like Kai Cenat could have equity in Fanbase. And I said this to Jermaine. I was like, Kai Cenat can have equity. I'd give Kai Cenat equity in Fanbase. Kai Cenat has the ability to move people wherever he wants them to move.
That's a fact.
And Jermaine said, you think so? I said, Jermaine, he tried to give away some PlayStations in New York City.
And almost got arrested for doing so.
He got arrested.
Yeah, he got arrested.
He got arrested, and that's physical. He got people to physically move. You're telling me that he can't get 1 million people to virtually move from one app to another? And that app that he does, when they do that, what is the value? What increases the value of social media platforms? The user base. So if Fanbase goes from 600, 700,000 users to 1.7 million users, right, in a week, because Kai Cenat said, I'm over there now, the equity that he has in that company has now gone up. And now that gives me the ability to go raise more capital, right? Because, and this is again, one of those things why I don't get mad when I see Instagram copying me, and I talk about equity crowdfunding so much. So when equity crowdfunding first came out, venture capitalists used to try to like demean it, say it was not real, it was bull or BS.
Yeah, good job, man.
Thank you.
Doing awesome.
So, because they said, oh, well, these aren't sophisticated investors. They don't know these companies are not properly vetted. You know what I mean? So, and people kind of fell into that. And I'm looking at it as, y'all just trying to be able to invest in the companies before everybody else using the accredited investor rule. And I'm gonna tell you why that's important. And I have these things to say about that now with equity crowdfunding. And I'm gonna compare it. I'm gonna compare equity crowdfunding to Fanbase. Okay. All right, ready? Boom. Fanbase has raised $10 million in 3 years from the public in equity crowdfunding. We have over 700,000 users, about 650,000 users, right? Cool, boom. Now, venture capital invested in a platform called FanHouse. They gave FanHouse $35 million to be a Fanbase clone. It's called FanHouse.
Unbelievable.
Fanbase, and they built and VCs put money in FanHouse.
You couldn't sue them?
No, no, you can't. I wouldn't worry about it. No matter. But FanHouse was out of business in 18 months. VCs picked that company, gave them $35 million. Right? Yeah. Another startup called Riff. Riff raised $10 million. And Riff even raised money from Empire, QC, and Top Dog Entertainment. Yeah. And they were kind of like an audio, video, kind of Clubhouse, Zoom type of app. And they were VC backed. Riff didn't last 18 months. Out of here. VC backed. Another app, Disco.
And hold on, they already had users on the platform?
Yeah, they had users, but they weren't able to scale it.
A lot?
No. Clubhouse, venture backed. They've raised $300 million. They're still around. They raised $300 million, $300 million, crazy, and are still struggling to kind of figure that out. Unless they're doing something with data or everybody's voice behind the background, which is probably what they do, but it's not the voice app that it was during COVID.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So y'all caught L's on all those, but Fanbase is still here, and you don't know any more than the public does. You just got the capital to do so. Yeah. And I thought, you know what I would do with $35 million? Yeah. Do you know what I would do with $350 million?
Crazy.
I've never paid, I say this all the time, I've never paid myself a salary working at Fanbase. Since I've raised the $10 million, none of that $10 million has ever gone in my pocket to pay myself.
Wow. And
because it's so critical that we have the capital to continue to build the company. And I also credit my CTO, COO, and CFO, because as much as the tech and the innovation side, the visionary side that I do, and the technical know-how, managing your capital is extremely important.
Yeah, I bet.
And they do a phenomenal job. Together, collectively, we don't burn cash.
Yeah. People
come to us all the time, hey man, can you sponsor this XYZ, it's a $50,000, whatever. And I'm like, okay, but how does $50,000 grow the company? How many users do we get from that $50,000? Yeah. Do I get 50,000 users for $50,000? No, it's only gonna be 12. It's only gonna be 15 people. Well, no, not doing that. When you raise money, everybody looks at you like the rich ball player that they want to take advantage of.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, can you sponsor this? Can you do that? They look at you like that. So I'm like, nah.
I was definitely going to ask you to sponsor podcast summit, but I won't now. You know what I mean? I'll just.
No, they do, but I mean, at some point we'll be able to do that. Yeah. But right now, it's about building community. Mm-hmm. Like, it's about owning your IP. It's about, nailing that business model down, like all of those things. Like, it's so crazy. The video, I can't remember the name of the African investor, but he was talking about how Facebook was funded 7 years, no revenue. Yeah. I said, Fanbase made revenue the first day it was on the App Store. We made revenue, not pre-profit. He said, not pre-profit, pre-revenue.
Yeah.
But they were able to scale users. So again, it's like, okay, we give you money and then we'll keep funding you till you build this thing up so we can monetize it. Black folks don't get that. We don't get that. We got to be good out the gate.
Yeah. But I guess it's a double-edged sword because some of these creators, they want some money, right?
Yep.
Forget the equity. Give me some money. I want some money right now. That's what I'm used to. However, when you get some VC backing or somebody gives you $50 million, that same mindset that maybe we're frustrated with saying, you need to start thinking equity, you won't have to because you're like, oh, well, here's the money you want. Come on, blow up my platform. And you only get the money.
That doesn't work.
No.
That don't work.
Why not?
Because you can't buy community. The app, that's the mistake that I think a lot of, like, so when
you buy awareness.
No, you can, but it doesn't stick though. You got to have a product that people really rock with. So
you got an amazing product.
I'll use AMP as an example. You remember AMP? Amazon had a it's basically like a.
I can see. Hold on, isn't that your joint with the purple?
No, AMP. AMP was like a yellow.
Don't you do something called AMP?
That's Amped Up. That's
okay. Yeah.
But Amazon had like this kind of like radio, podcast, audio chat type of app. Amazon, huge billion-dollar company, right? Yeah. They did deals. I'm gonna name all these people they did deals with. You ready? Nicki Minaj, Nick Cannon, Candy, Jason Lee, Young Boy, Joe Budden. It was more, but they went out of business.
Wow.
Because celebrities got a celebrity. They can't sit on a platform all day. All the people that you want to use your platform are famous because they're not on your platform. They're out there being great. They're out there making movies, hosting radio shows and podcasts, singing songs, performing. They can't sit on your app all day. See, COVID was that was different. We was all sitting down.
Yeah, for sure.
So when celebrities get on there, they ain't got nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They ain't got nothing to do. But now I can go do some shows. I ain't about to sit on this platform all day. But what's left is the community. So that's why I value community so much more than celebrity. Celebrities don't build apps, communities do.
Wow. Okay. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But I mean, once you get it, and you may be able to leverage a paid maybe they just didn't know what they were doing. If I was building a platform, maybe you pay some people to get other people involved. Say, oh, since that person's on there, then I have a deeper conversation with them. Like, you get some equity.
You can, but again, I think the users of Fanbase that continue to bring other, because really most people, all the apps that I ever use. See, again, I'm going to talk like a user. Yeah. I'm the user turned founder. I'm the user turned tech founder. I'm not the tech founder trying to figure out what users want. Yeah. I already knew what I wanted. So every app that I ever got on, somebody told me about. Not nobody famous. I didn't see anybody famous use it, right? Nobody famous told me. Like, I remember MySpace, my roommate and his friends at the time were hovering around a computer. Yeah. And I was like, what are y'all doing? And I dissed it at first, like, wait, it's like, man, don't worry about this thing called MySpace. You can have friends. And I guarantee a month went by, came back, and I was like, oh, you can have friends. And they were hollering at girls. I was like, oh, and the light bulb goes. The light bulb goes off, like, okay, it's virtual. So now you talking to girls that don't like. Before you could only meet girls that physically were around you. Like if I saw you at the club at the mall, but now you're talking to girls that live in Texas, and it was like, oh, I can communicate and talk to girls like, oh, cool. And we got photos. Now I can show my fit and all that. So I was like, they told me about that. My former publicist who's no longer with us, she told me about Twitter. She's like, Ike, get on this thing called Twitter. In 2007, nobody was on Twitter. I would post a tweet. Nobody was there. Nothing. It was silence. Wow. Michael Jackson died. Everybody was on Twitter. That's where everybody, and that's when I said, oh, then I got the light bulb moment.
Hold on. Why did that happen? Why did that happen?
Because that's where everybody could find out about the news first. Twitter was faster than the news.
Right.
So that's when I knew Twitter is going to be, so when something happens, Twitter will know about it before the media knows about it. Because the person that was there is going to tweet it. So everybody turns into a reporter. I was like, oh, this is going to be huge. I hate what Elon's done to the platform, but that is the gold of Twitter. It's like, oh, they shooting. Cool. This building's on fire. Cool. So-and-so just broke up with so-and-so. I seen them arguing on the escalator that he got caught cheating.
Right.
It's news in real time. And so I think that's, extremely impactful. I thought that was dope. Like, so, and then who told me about, I think everybody just my people were around Facebook. I saw that. And then my boy, Donnie Scant, shout out to Donnie Scant, who is a Fanbase investor. I saw him talk about Instagram and I got on Instagram. I was one of like the first 1 million people on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah. It
came out
in October of 2010.
I got on 2010 too. My man T. Basquiat.
So you were probably within the first. Then you were in the first 10 million people. When you used to sign up for Instagram, you used to have an ID number. That's how you could tell every time your number.
I think it was. Yep.
So mine was like 989,000, whatever.
Yeah, I want to say, that's interesting.
But they got 10 million users in the first month when they launched it. It took off. It was the ultimate unicorn.
Yeah.
But that idea, but again, they didn't come up with that idea. The users did.
Yeah.
So the things that I notice about technology is, okay, cool. There's large amounts of capital available to white tech founders in social media that black people don't have. And then we come with all the ideas. So I was like, if we just have the money and the ideas and the equity, then we create something that has never been done before.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Facebook as a $2.2 trillion company, trillion with a T.
Goodness gracious.
2.2 trillion, right? When you think of a platform like TikTok or ByteDance, that is worth about 300 billion, right? Instagram away from Facebook is probably worth about 350 billion, right? So you're saying, okay, cool. So then if we build a platform where we all have equity in it and move all our stuff over there, and we know, I do process of elimination, right? Yeah. I just say, okay, social media, boom. What makes social media successful? Users.
Right.
Okay. Who creates all the cool on social media?
We do. Black
okay,
people
cool.
and kids.
All right. So the only thing that's missing is who owns the infrastructure. We're always building the fly stuff on somebody else's infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's the music business. That's the TV and film business. That's sports. Like, we had the Negro Leagues or the ABA or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Even though the Negro Leagues were owned by people that weren't Negroes, but somebody could have said, oh, if the Negro Leagues were drawing more viewers than the Major League Baseball, that's why they integrated baseball. They were like, oh man, these boys sliding, they stealing bases.
They fast.
Yeah. The ABA
they so
was
fast and strong.
The ABA was killing the NBA. They had the 3-point shot. The ABA came up with the 3-pointer. The ABA had dunks. Not the NBA. The NBA was just a bunch of white dudes running around running plays. Here come Julius Erving like, well, how about I just jump up and throw this through the hoop? And they were like, we got to buy it.
Yo.
So I'm like, oh, it's got to be. So the infrastructure is the key is the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So if we're not building infrastructure, we're never going to get ahead. Like I said, the richest person on the planet that's black is worth about $19 billion. Bernard Arnault is worth like $350 billion. 19 billion to 350 billion. Now, mind you, for everybody out there, $1 billion is 1,000 million. So think about that. A man that has 356 billion. That is just insane.
Yeah.
But that's the type of wealth that gets generated through technology. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm focused on this. I'm not trying to make Instagram hot. I'm not trying to make YouTube hot. Because at the end of the day, what tends to happen in our community is these people get anointed, and then what's supposed to pacify our community is the fact that he made it. Mm-hmm. That's not good enough. It's not good enough for me that Oprah and Jay-Z and Tyler Perry and Rihanna and Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and LeBron James and Tiger Woods and Robert F. Smith are billionaires. That's not good enough for me. I want 100 black billionaires. Yeah. I want 1,000 black billionaires. Because all we do is
How many we got?
We got like 12, 14.
It's only 12 to 14 black billionaires. Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah. In the United States of America.
I feel like it was more.
No, I'll Google it. Rihanna just became one. Kanye was one. I think Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. I think LeBron James was close. Yeah, man. No, it's not that many. I promise you.
Of the nearly 3,000 billionaires in the world, only 16 are black. That's fewer than 1%. Of those 16, only 2 are women.
Wow. Yes. So it's not good enough.
Wow. Get this, 10 are Americans.
Yeah.
A black woman in America, it's over with.
Yeah.
For right now, in terms of these stats,
No,
right?
Brianna and Oprah are billionaires.
Right. What I'm saying, it says 10 are American. I mean, 2 are American. But I'm saying in terms of statistically, for one, being black, you're at a significant disadvantage.
What's the disadvantage?
Well, the disadvantage is that we maybe aren't.
We're not
backed.
We don't have.
The more black billionaires, the more black billionaires can be created. The more white billionaires.
I'm solving what you're doing, what you're watching me do right now is solve the problem in real time. You said we're not backed, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then what's equity crowdfunding? That's how you get back.
Being backed. Oh, okay. That's lit.
There's 40 million people, black people, in the United States of America that spend $2.2 trillion every year. Most of it is on luxury goods and non-essentials. How come we can't put a couple billion into companies that we all invest in and own?
I think that's a part of the problem too, because the fewer we have doing it, the fewer we'll have doing it.
But that's why for me, when I raised capital on Start Engine, I introduced the Black Bread Company, the guys out of Chicago. They went on to raise $1 million. Shout out to Benny Ashburn. She raised $1 million for Crown and Hops, her black brewery. I introduced Don Cannon to equity crowdfunding. I introduced Kiki and Corey, these young girls have a dating app called Switch. I introduced them to equity crowdfunding.
You were supposed to connect me too.
I will, but that's my point. Is then I put money into it. If I introduce you to something, I invest in your company too, because I'm like, I want you to become a black billionaire. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's the point of doing it. So there's plenty of money. So this is the thing. Even when we talk about raising capital, like Fanbase, even raising this $17 million for the company, I already do the math. The maths, right?
Yeah.
You pull out your calculator. I want you to pull out your calculator, right?
Okay.
Take 28,650.
28,650. Okay.
Times $600.
Times $600. What did we just do?
Hit equal.
I see it, but what do we do for the crowd, for the audience? What is the 26,000 representing?
The people. So all it takes is 28,000. What did I say? 28,000.
Something like that.
So that's
somebody put it in the chat.
So 28,650 people to invest $600.
Yes.
That's $17 million.
You're raising the $17 million. I got you. So
it just take out of 40 million black people, all we need is 28,650 people to invest $600, not go to the club, not buy Jordans, not buy bottles, not go on vacation. And we've raised $17 million for a tech startup that we own.
What an important conversation we're having.
That's why I'm saying I'm tired. Like our perspective of black people in this country is too aspirational. It's too like, oh, if the one guy does it, then I can do it. Now, how about we all do it? That's what everybody else does. That's why I say, and the problem that I had this conversation before is, and I was saying this with Brian and Jermaine, is that building wealth in the black community is looked at as a competition and not collaboration. I cannot say for certain, but I would think that the last thing that the 10 black billionaires in the United States of America want is 10 more. Because the power that those 10 people can leverage to the white community and to the black community by being billionaires is massively valuable. Because the white community looks at them 10 people like, you guys, that's it. Whatever y'all say, black people looking at y'all like, y'all know what y'all talking about because y'all made $1 billion. So it's Oprah, Tyler Perry, Jay-Z. That's why I say black people only listen to Oprah, Tyler Perry, Robert Smith, Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? That's it. They're not listening to nobody else. And that's value in that. And that's no shade in them. They've earned that. And they do well with that. But my point is like when you got 100 150 black billionaires. Now it's like you're not so special anymore.
Yeah.
You're part of a larger pool of people. And somebody might not think the way that you think. Somebody might be like, oh no, we not past Neil and Jay-Z. I'm a billionaire too. Matter of fact, I'm going to buy a football team and put Colin Kaepernick on that mug. So we different. No. That's what I'm saying is like, we don't need to be like that. Nah. We ain't got to be that. I'm not. No, I think differently than you. Because oftentimes what happens is, and I think that, I'm not saying that they all do this intentionally and most of them don't, but it's kind of like sometimes black people get in positions of power and authority and they speak on behalf of all black people when no one asked you to do that. I speak for myself. I don't speak for the black community. I have my own opinion about what I think, but I don't speak for the black community. Because everybody's mad at Gayle King talking about, we were rooting for Iowa. No, we weren't. We were rooting for Don Staley in South Carolina. We? Who is we? But that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta, when you get up there like that, you can't forget that you represent you. Just because you're rich don't mean you speak for all black people.
Yeah. Black
people speak for themselves. Then the way that we vote, we spend our dollars, X, Y, Z. So I would never be a billionaire thinking that I speak on behalf of black people. Yeah. I would just implement the ideas that I thought worked best, and if people are down with them, they're down with them. But I'm not gonna tell people what we finna do.
Right. What's happening with TikTok right now? For one, shouts out Serena and Venus. They just became owners of a football team, right? Serena and Venus?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That was pretty cool. First black female.
Well, here's the thing.
Something like that.
Okay, so see, again, when we say these things, that's true. But when is it somebody that's going to be the owner, the majority owner, like I own the whole thing? This is mine. We need to start thinking like, see, that's what I'm saying is like, okay, cool. It's cool that you own part of a team. Like, let's own the team. That's why I wanted Oprah to buy the Clippers so bad. Remember when the Clippers were up for sale and Oprah was trying to, that would have been so dope. Oh my God. Because Oprah would have been the majority owner.
So you're saying, so Venus and Serena made Miami Dolphins history as minority owners in 2009. Today, the team's said to be worth $4.6 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, so they did this a while ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was recent.
But my point is like, I want to own, like, let's own the whole team. Like, let's own it. And again, those institutions might not let black people be the majority owner. Michael Jordan was a majority owner of the, like, I think he's the first majority black owner of any like sports team. But that's gangster. Now that's what we're talking. Yeah. That's ownership.
I like that. Okay, what's happening with TikTok?
TikTok is is probably going to get, it's not going to get banned. So the House and the Senate the House voted to ban TikTok. I think the Senate has to vote on it. Once the Senate votes on it, then it'll become official and Biden will sign the legislation. I don't believe that TikTok will get banned. I think the reason that they're doing it is because, one, there is a lot of privacy concerns with the fact that the Chinese government owns a part of ByteDance. So China being a communist country, they can just say, give us that data. And what's TikTok gonna say? No, it's China. You do what we say. So for that reason, there's a lot of concern that young people have, the government has about having access to Americans' data information. Second, but here's the part that I think people don't understand, and I think people that TikTok are not really use TikTok don't understand. When it comes to China, no American business is allowed to operate in China. There is no Facebook, there is no Instagram, there is no YouTube, there is no Google, there is no Amazon. None of these companies exist in China. China has their version of all those, right? Tencent, Douyin, Alibaba, like every version they have. So as Alexis Ohanian said, as a form of reciprocity, why should a Chinese company be allowed to operate in the United States of America?
Makes sense.
So they're going to force a liquidity event, which means ByteDance is going to have to sell the U.S. version of TikTok to some American company, and problem solved. They don't have access to the Chinese government, doesn't have access to the data, and now all that money that's going to China, like all the revenue that it's leaving the United States and going to China. We can keep that money in our economy.
I had no idea why all this was happening.
Yeah, so it's just and I don't see a problem with it. Well, I think that people, the creators that are on TikTok are concerned. I just don't think that from a strategy standpoint, I wouldn't ban something that you're trying to sell. Because who wants to buy that?
Right. right.
Let this thing run and we'll figure it out. And then once the sale is done, we'll transfer ownership, but don't take it down.
Yeah.
You're gonna mess up the whole deal.
Gotcha.
And so I think it's stated that way, is to put the pressure on ByteDance to sell that company and get that cash, and then keep it moving.
Got it. Isaac Hayes, another classic. Another classic. Okay, so people can be involved, and I like these conversations where we can see that you know what you're talking about, and it makes me trust you as a leader. So when I invest in, I'm having conversations and figuring out, what can we do with Fanbase? Because I like it. I like what you're doing, and I just trust that you understand this, and you're right person leading the ship. So how can...
I'll say this, though, too, also. When it comes to what we had to do to raise capital on Start Engine, and what we did from going from a Reg CF, which is where you raise up to $5 million a year, to a Reg A where you can raise up to $75 million a year, and that's the level that we are now. The level of compliance that you have to go through with the SEC.
Yeah. What's the stuff you can't do? I remember you was telling me.
It's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even feel like getting into it, but it's a bunch of regulations that I can't, do. But that's why it makes it a lot harder. If I could do what I normally do, I would have raised. We probably would have raised $6-7 million.
You got to give some insight on, so that people understand. It was just a bunch of things you said. How they're tying your hands. So they can't. So you can't. You can only. I can only talk about places like this, where there's a clickable link. So when this conversation is posted, there's got to be a clickable link to Start Engine, and then people can see the filing from the SEC. And that is why they make because they want to give the investor a lot of transparency and the opportunity to really see the investment. It's not just like, hey, I'm raising money, give me money, and it's like you can't go check and see what the heck is going on. Which means you can't do it on radio or TV or
radio, television. I can't do that. So
you can do Instagram, you do social media.
Yeah, I can do Instagram.
You can do podcast interviews like this, YouTube.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Those pre-recorded things, and so that's like there's so much compliance, and to speak to the level of skill that went into what we were doing. When you apply for equity crowd, when you apply to launch a Reg A on Start Engine, you have to go through compliance, and then there's something called a review process that the SEC does, and the SEC usually comes back and says, "We need you to fix this, this, and this. We have questions about this, questions about that. Da 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 da." Boom. When we applied to launch our Reg A, the SEC sent me a letter back with my name on it. It says, SEC, Isaac, we will not review your filing. Everything, they looked at everything, said, looks good to us, and that's unheard of.
Wow.
Even like Start Engine, we're like, you got a non-review from the SEC. Because that process takes a long time, because then they come back and they got another month to decide, you got to send stuff back, and we got a non-objection from FINRA. So the point is that what I'm doing is the real deal. I know that people, a lot of times people talk that talk, like, trust me, I'm not, if I wanted to try to get rich off this, then Fanbase is valued at $160 million right now. I would sell the company, and everybody that invested would still see a return on their investment, but I'd walk away with millions of dollars and just say I'm a tech founder, walk around and do conventions and talk about how I exited and made all this money. That don't mean nothing if we're not building, if you ain't exiting and everybody else in exiting is not making a substantial return on their investment like these other guys do, like these guys that invest in these early stage startups and they put 10,000 in and walk away with 10 million, then what am I doing it for?
Yeah. All right, because I got an idea. I got an idea, and we're gonna talk about it as soon as we shut this down. You're gonna show me how to get some money, and then I gotta have it. Man, you just need to be a regular. Just come every couple months and just start talking that talk, man.
Hey, man, look, whatever I can do to raise this capital, I think that this is. See, again, when I have these conversations, it's so significant that if we don't take advantage of this opportunity, and again, when I say the Black community looks at building wealth as competition and not collaboration. Yeah. It's like we have a problem enriching ourselves beyond ourselves. And I said that before. There's literally people that invest. Think about this. This is what I'm saying. There are people I'll say this. QC. I went to QC with Fanbase and asked them to invest. QC invested in Riff. Riff was white-founded startup. They put their money in Riff. But I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I know Coach. I've known Coach since 2000, right? And so I didn't feel a type of way about that. But in my mind, sometimes I feel like we look at wealth as a competition where it's like, okay, if I invest in Isaac, he might wind up being worth 10 billion, and I might might make 500 million. I think that we have that issue. That we don't invest in ourselves because we can't see elevating as somebody else beyond our own wealth. I'm telling you, but I think that if the people that invest in these white startups, they don't have a problem making these people multi-billionaires because they get their 500 million, their 250 million, and it's like, I'm rich.
Yeah.
And all the other black people can look at me like, look, I made a bunch of money. And I'm not saying that that's what Coach's intention or anybody is. Yeah. But it leaves me scratching my head like, dog, Fanbase was a better product. I'm right here in the city. Like, it's like, yo, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. And so when I see those things not happening, and maybe they just didn't believe in me, and that's fine. I can accept that because I am a first-time tech founder, XYZ. But the data shows you got this many users, you raise this much money. I can download your app, see the product. I can see where it can benefit my businesses, and all those types of things. And so when we get past this roadblock of investing in ourselves to elevate beyond ourselves, meaning for all practical purposes, Fanbase could never succeed. But I've also invested in a bunch of other startups, and those startups might go on and be multi-billion-dollar startups, and I might get $500,000 out of it. It's cool, but it doesn't matter because we got one on the board. Yeah, for sure. We got to put some points on the board. I'm telling you, I'm past all this. Look, I'm not down with idol worship. I love everybody that's rich and successful, but I'm not trying to. I mean, like, it's not that I'm trying to beat you. I'm trying to be you, and I can't be you if I idolize you in a way that doesn't, in some way, shape, or form, think that I have to elevate myself in a form of business to be, when I see myself as your equal. For sure. I have to see myself as, I can be Tyler Perry, I can be Oprah. That's why I put my picture next to Mark Zuckerberg and all them. Like, I got to look at myself like, they're no different than me. They just got, it's ideas, money, and ownership. That's it.
I love this, man. Listen, all right, so we'll have a link somewhere. Yeah. We'll have a link somewhere. Is it cool that, they can go to your bio if they're on Instagram right now, right?
Yeah, it's in the bio. Okay. Link's in the bio.
Invest, y'all. Throw a couple dollars. What's the minimum?
$399.
$399. Hey, but they put up 10,000 for Amazon. It's worth $1.5 billion. So,
but see, those are the things, dog. They like, Jeff Bezos was able to raise like $300,000 from. We ain't got people that can give $10,000, $20,000. But we got people that can give $400, and then pulling those 400 people together creates the the 200,000. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Instagram got $500,000 to start their business. Don't even give nobody no $500,000.
Right. Yeah, it makes you feel good that you're like, yo, I never took an owner draw. Like, I never took no bread out the company. That's exciting, bro.
No, man. When I'm talking about I'm serious about this. Like, I'm locked in. You talking about focused? I'm an introvert. Yes. I don't go nowhere. I go to the office, come do podcasts, and go home and play Call of Duty.
Like, I want to set up, so Isaac, you'll be speaking at Podcast Summit. Yeah. We need to set something up, like, just come up to Isaac at Podcast Summit, show that you've invested, all right? We're going to do, maybe we can just sort of giveaway. I don't know. I need to figure that out. But
28,650 people investing $600 is $17 million. Your own part of the company, you'll have equity. Yeah. Shout out to Kai Sanat. You want some equity? Come on. Let's get to it. Shout out to Cardi B. You want some equity? Hit me. Let's pull up. Like, you with it? Let's do it. Like, I'm ready. Like, it's time to do that.
This is good, bro.
We got to do that, man. I'm telling you, it's like, yo, these Instagram, and because on top of that, you can't. There isn't a day that goes by that somebody doesn't complain about how they get disrespected or shut down or banned on Instagram or TikTok, or somebody says some crazy stuff on Twitter. Then why are we? Come on, man. What? Because it's me. Mm-hmm. Who is it got to be then? Yeah. You want me to? You want me to put another person up here? Like that, and honestly, that my strategy behind that, even before COVID, was that I didn't even want to be the face of the company because I knew that.
Dang.
I was literally, I'm telling you right now, I'm not trying to be funny. I was going to find somebody Caucasian to represent Fanbase as the founder and CEO. And I'm just
ain't nobody gonna talk like you though, my boy.
I know, but I mean, but represent,
I understand. Yeah,
represent it because I know that would get VCs and everybody to come on in and be like, yeah, and you're okay, cool. Yeah. And I'm just in the background like I'm the ghost in the machine. I'm back here just quiet. But COVID changed those things, and I think it was for I think it happened the way it was supposed to because it changed the narrative of like equity crowdfunding. Now we invest in ourselves. We put money in our own businesses. So whenever you're ready to raise or whatever to raise, count me in. The other businesses that I'm raising, anybody, like that's why I say, shout out to those people, and I'm always happy to do that, especially for us. I
love it. Hey, y'all, listen. If you're just looking at this or watching, Isaac Hayes III. He's the third. Isaac Hayes III on Instagram.
No, Isaac Hayes 3.
Is it 3? Ain't it?
Yeah.
3 eyes?
Isaac Hayes number 3.
Isaac Hayes number 3
on Instagram.
Isaac Hayes number 3 on Instagram. Yeah. Go to the link in his bio. Click that. Listen, I'm telling you all, invest. I don't get no affiliate. This isn't a benefit for me other than I'm an investor too. But I didn't put a whole bunch of money into it. I just wanted to support. And I think it's important that the more we support each other, the more we all can grow. So make sure y'all go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest, man. Own a little something or something, man. A lot of us don't own nothing.
Oh, listen. No, look, me and you gonna be, me, you, and about 14,000 other people gonna be sitting on yachts and beaches.
We'll clip this up.
Remember that Fanbase exit we did? Oh my God, it's crazy. Like, and everyone like, man, I could have been in that. I could have been with them at the Fanbase owners retreat. The owners retreat. My God, we all got our yachts out here talking about, what's the next deal we're doing? Let's go buy a sports team.
Love it, man.
You know what I'm saying? That's how we got to act.
But follow my brother Isaac Hayes, man. So y'all got all the information. If you are going out this weekend to trick off your money, you should feel horrible about yourself because you didn't invest in something to own something, okay? Listen, how much did you spend on that dinner with that girl that you don't even really like that? You know what I mean? About the same amount.
And you didn't even get a call. She didn't even text you back, dog. She didn't even text you back. She didn't even say thank you for it. You spent $600 at Capitol Grill. And she didn't even call you back, bro. You could have put that 600 in the Fanbase and then pull up in the Lambo 9 years from now like, yeah.
And to be 100% clear, y'all, I don't have, the link that's there is not an affiliate. I'm telling you. I don't benefit. I just believe in people, man. And I think we need to do more of that. So, Isaac, man, I appreciate you, my brother. Thanks for stopping by. We will definitely, I just need you on more because every time I talk to you, I'm just more inspired. So, man, take us out with a word of wisdom.
You spent $600 on that lace front, and you immediately got your hair wet and wasted it. You could have taken that $600 and put it into a tech startup, and then got your hair redone.
Come on.
And then 9 years from now, you can buy all the hair you want, have your own hairstylist because you invested in Fanbase at startengine.com/fanbase. So no lace fronts and no steak dinners this week. We invest. This is the week where we put our money into companies and not into the toilet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Man, appreciate you, my brother. And go download Fanbase.
The app too.
Download the app, experience it, touch it, talk to the people, go live.
I got to tell y'all what we're doing with the 17 million. Real quick. You got time?
I got a meeting.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're building AI algorithms. We refactoring the feed. We've got live that's going to be like 24/7. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on, but a lot of what we're doing is protecting our IP. We filed 10 patents, filed 10 patents for review, tons of stuff. So, and we're scaling the business in the company. And so that's why we need $17 million because tech startups cost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And so this helps us scale and grow. And so we'd love to have you on the cap table, but yeah, thanks.
Let's get it, man. I see y'all on Fanbase. We out of here. Peace. If you like the video that you just watched, click this one. You're going to like this one, maybe even more. Click it right now.